Yes, guys, welcome to SFeatleyTV. Sorry for the lateness, bit of technical issues, but we're here. It's time for Man United versus Arsenal match preview, right, for the game tomorrow. Let's go.
Premier League champions 2016, Leicester City.
Hope to see you soon. Well done. Bye bye.
Gazzola, Giroud again. Joe Wilson. It's Gerrard. That's a great strike. McCracken getting closer. To the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent. Van Persie arriving. Oh, what a goal! What a goal by Robin Van Persie!
Yes, guys, welcome to SFeatleyTV. It's the match preview for Man United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. Right, big game tomorrow, right, and I'm looking forward to it. Right, it's Arsenal's probably first big test so far in this season. I've got Matty from the Man United Agenda. How you doing, mate?
All good, thanks, Stephen. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I've been a bit knackered, but I'm alright. Manny, how are you?
Can't complain. I hope you appreciate the fact that I've got this thing here. It should hopefully decrease all the problems you have with my audio, yeah?
Yeah, it's working so far, so let's keep it that way. So,
of course. And Matty, good to see you as well. Hope you're well,
Likewise.
mate.
All good, thanks. Hope you're good.
Big up Mike. Yeah, big up Mike in the chat. Mike, I'll get you on for maybe the match reaction after the game. This one's gonna be close panel tonight. So, so Man United Arsenal, and I'll start with mate, about like the rivalry itself, because it's like, for me, it's like a proper Premier League rivalry that I've watched growing up. So, and I mean, what does it mean for you?
Oh, it means everything. I grew up with a brother who's an Arsenal fan, and obviously back in the day you had Fergie versus Wenger, Keane versus Vieira. But the rivalry goes beyond that. You had the Brawl back in 1990 with Anders Limp and Nigel Winsburn and Dennis Irwin, which sparked the big brawl. Obviously, Fergie versus Wenger, classic rivalry, the greatest management rivalry we've had in English football. I don't want to hear about this pep and crop. That's not a rivalry.
No.
As well as that, the great thing about this rivalry is there's hatred and respect in equal measure. Man United hated Arsenal under Wenger. Arsenal hated Man United under Fergie. But because both teams were winners that both wanted to win, it was purely about winning. They went about it different ways and that, but fundamentally it was about the winning. But there was also mutual respect for the opposition there and what they were capable of doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, growing up, obviously I grew up with the Wenger Fergie rivalry, which is probably why there's, apart from Spurs, they're probably one of my most hated rivals and one of the games I want to win. Manny, what about you? What does it mean to you?
Oh, it does mean quite a bit. I mean, obviously, ever since I started supporting Arsenal, the Manchester United-Arsenal game would always be one where the rivalry would be at its niggliest, if you will. And of course, when I started watching, Alex Ferguson was the United manager. And, never mind the Ferguson-Wenger rivalry, but whenever we had the rivalry between Graham and Ferguson, both of them Scots, both of them quite fiery in their own way, that also produced some moments where, as you mentioned, Matty, that whole brawl between with Winterburn and Dennis Irwin, and so forth. I mean, that was definitely a heated clash, and we all remember Pizzagate, and of course Martin Keown doing his best Undertaker impersonation towards Ruud van Nistelrooy. So there's always going to be that niggle, and the memory is always going to remain, and some of the goals that are scored in those games will always be classics. You won't remember this, Stephen, but I do very fondly remember a David Rocastle stunner at Old Trafford in 1991, I think it was, when we had that faded banana away strip. That was an absolutely gorgeous goal. Gave Peter Schmeichel no chance. And actually, that might have been in 90. Yeah, it was in 1991 because he joined in the 91-92 season. Yeah, and of course in 98 and 2002 when we won the league and cup double, those seasons we both won at Old Trafford 1-0. I think it was Vieira who scored in 98 and Wiltord who scored in 2002, winning the league at Old Trafford.
It was Overmars.
Yeah.
In 98.
Overmars at Old Trafford. Oh, in 98.
Yeah, 98. In 98, it was Overmars.
Yeah, thanks for the correction. I stand corrected. So, yeah, I mean, whenever Arsenal win at Old Trafford, regardless of our current positions now, it's always a feather in our cap because of that rivalry which goes a long way back, basically founding members of the Football League, if you will, and teams with rich histories. So it's always a special rivalry no matter what. And those memories obviously, stay with me for quite a bit. And I mean, for quite a long time. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be no different, and it should be a bit of a cracker.
Yeah, I mean, going into it is Arsenal looking to maintain their 100% record so far. Man United now wanting to keep the momentum going they've picked up in the last 3 games. But just quickly have a look at something first. Just bring this up so it reminds me. My memory's like a sieve. So I mean, look, obviously the rivalry goes without saying. I mean, Matty, for you, what is your favourite moment from Man United Arsenal?
Oh, my favourite moment. My favourite moment has to be the chip out. I believe it was Highbury, John O'Shea when we beat you 4-2, and you went in front twice, and then we come back. We managed to beat you 4-2, and John O'Shea got the chip. I remember that game. It's been one of the best Man United Arsenal games in history. But it's a very underrated game because it didn't play a significant part. It wasn't like the 2 games mentioned where Arsenal come to Old Trafford and won the league, or it wasn't the Champions League game in 08 when we knocked you out, winning 1-0 or 3-1 or anything like that. But as games go and as moments go, for me, that chip by John O'Shea and that game in general, that 4-2, was a fantastic game, and it doesn't get talked about as much as some of the other games.
Yeah, I think the big moment from that game is what happened in the tunnel.
Yeah.
That's what was the big moment from that, like the Keane, the Vieira rivalries. That's what stands out for me in that game. I mean, Manny, what's your favourite moment?
Got to be winning the league at Old Trafford in 2002. Saved by Barthez, Wiltord follow-up, and that was pretty much it. You could tell how much United needed and wanted to win that game and how determined we were to win. And of course, to actually do that was amazing. I think the reason why I got the 98 goal scorer wrong was because I wasn't able to watch Premiership football at that time. It was only after 2000 again that I was able to do that. I was living outside the UK at the time. And I couldn't watch the games. But, that game will always live in the memory. And that was the game which really showed that that team was really a top quality team. And, of course, there were better goals scored by Arsenal against Manchester United. That little hoik over from Henry, which beat Fabien Barthez at Highbury, was wonderful. But when it comes to significance of the games, 2002 will always be it for me. It doesn't quite take away the pain of losing the 99 FA Cup semi-final, but it does its bit.
I was going to say that Right, I thought you were going to name all of them there. Like, I was going to give me no options. Um, yeah, I mean, 2002 is definitely one. Like, so much so I bought the DVD about it. Like, I just had a repop, but like, so someone was selling the whole game like on a DVD, so I thought, yeah, screw it, let's have that. But maybe not because in terms of its significance, because of the tournament, maybe tournament was in. The one sort of game that I felt really embarrassed, sort of Man United and their goalkeeper was Henri. I think it was in the Carling Cup. I think Limburg would have got in front. Man United equalised at Highbury, and then like Bartes decided he's going to start. He must have realised something that Man United were all of a sudden playing at home in their red shirts because he passed it straight to Henri, and then the second goal, like he thought, well, he's going to take him on one, and straight away he got absolutely mugged. So that's one that's like probably yeah. But in terms of significance, you can't beat for us. For me, from Arsenal's point of view, is you can't beat 2002. Like the fact that half the team, like Perez, Henri, for example, they weren't there. They were injured, and yet they still managed to come away with a 1-0 win, which just shows that how good of a result that was. Yeah. Oops, sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Bloody thing is cool. Let's go to some of the comments so far. Big up to everyone that's in the chat right now. Big up, my note. How you doing? James, I'm not nervous or confident only because we had a poor deadline day. I would take a draw for tomorrow. Okay. Fair enough. Stephen, would you go back to? Would you go to a back three against Man United? No, because to be honest, our defensive line has been solid so far. Why would you want to change it? I don't think like it's. Our defense has been very good so far, so I don't see us changing that. It all that's going to cause is problems. Man United Arsenal was the fixture that decided the title. That's the thing is as well that what the rivalry meant as well is that we were the top two going for the league every season. So whoever won them, you knew you were going to have unless you had a free fall, you were going to win the league. So that this one was the fixture that decided the title back in the day. As a neutral, love watching their matches back then.
It was a proper fixture back then. Man U Arsenal. It was the standout game. As a Man United fan, when the fixtures were released, first game I was looking for was Arsenal. When are we playing them? I don't care if it's at Highbury, if it's at Old Trafford. It's when are we playing Arsenal? That kind of defines what we're going to do in the league. The matches prior and matches after have a certain level of credence to them, but that was the game. If Man U won, good chance Man United went on to win the league. If Arsenal won, good chance Arsenal go on to win the league. It was that big of a fixture.
Exactly. Maybe because of our midfield. Yeah, I don't see the point in taking apart with defence. I just don't see the logic in it. Anyway, we're going to move on to the actual game itself. I'm going to start with the home team Man United. Matty, for you, who is your biggest threats going into this game? Like, who stands out for you?
We've got, I would say, 4. We've got Sancho, Rashford, Fernandes, and Eriksen. Rashford's been, he hasn't been amazing in the past 3 games, but he's definitely upped his game from where he was last season. Sancho got the winner against Leicester. He's coming into some good form. And with Bruno and Eriksen, depending on which one of them play, or maybe even both, the time they'll get in that midfield, because Arsenal's midfield is out. I think you're going to be playing the second choice midfield. No Party. I've heard Xhaka's out. I'm not sure. I've also heard Odegaard's out. So you're going to be really weak in that midfield. And if you can get Bruno on the ball in that area, same as Eriksen, we can do some real damage in there. And that, also being the home team, we need to be on the front foot and have the impetus to go and try and win the game, especially against the weakened team.
I'm surprised you didn't say Casemiro for me. Casemiro for me, like because of our midfield, like even if Casemiro, even if it's his debut, the chances are we are going to struggle to keep him quiet. He'll have Granit Xhaka and El Neni, stuff what the super fans say, that like he'll have Xhaka and
El Neni
on the screen. Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't mention. Casemiro, because that's where I feel the game's really won or lost for me.
Casemiro will play a part in us winning, but I think it's more our offensive midfielders and the fact you're weak in that CDM position with no Party. If we can get Bruno on the board in there and give him time, same with Eriksen, they can pick passes and cut that Arsenal defence apart, especially if you've got pace and that. And if Arsenal change their style and drop back 5 or 10 yards, that's kind of inviting pressure, because you're then giving up extra percentage of space in the middle of the pitch, which is going to allow Man United to push forward that tad bit more on a tactical level. So it's going to be a smart game, whatever happens, depending on how Arsenal go. If Arsenal play deep and counter-attack, and they're going to give up a good percentage of area within the midfield, and with Bruno and Eriksen, we know what they're capable of doing. Bruno's not been the same player for past season or so, but he is a world-class midfielder, and he gets in most teams on his day when he's good. And Eriksen, once again, is another world-class midfielder. His passing range is phenomenal. His long-range shooting, his vision, he's got everything. It's not that if he's playing deep, as a conductor next to a Casemiro, Bruno's got a free role then ahead of him, whereas he can literally run riot.
Manny, just quickly, who do you think is going to be the biggest threat from Man United?
I don't know if it'll be Casemiro, to be honest, because I think, as Matty said, he might only play a part in it, and he hasn't really had enough minutes to really make sure that he'll be warmed up for the game. For me, it'll be in the midfield. It has to be Eriksen, no doubt about it. I'm not too convinced, to be frank, with the front 3 or 4 that United have, because although Rashford did score against Liverpool, he's more or less been quiet since, in a way, and I think Matty can agree with me. I'm just going to ask you, mate. Do you possibly see, I don't know if Erik ten Hag will do this, because from what I've seen of him, he's more of a reactive sort of coach as opposed to being dynamic and proactive. But do you think he might just throw a switch and actually bring Cristiano Ronaldo on from the beginning? I mean, start him to sort of put that fear factor into Arsenal?
I hope not, because of what's happened with the transfer window, with Cristiano trying to engineer a move away and being unsuccessful. He needs to apologise to his teammates and to the coach first, and he needs to earn his spot. And we've seen the past couple of games where he's not played, the team has looked better as a whole. Ronaldo's a great player, but he's a great player when the team's set up around him now. This current Man United team isn't set up to allow Cristiano to do what he does best. So he shouldn't start for me. He should be on the bench.
Exactly. Go on. Sorry, go on.
I understand if the coach does start him, but I personally wouldn't. I think put him on the bench, bring him on as a sub. He's got to earn the right to be a first team player again. You know, this is
Yeah.
Manchester United, and I'd say the same thing about Arsenal players that are coming back from injury that shouldn't walk back in. It's Arsenal. You know, you should be earning your spot back in that starting 11.
So that's manager. Sorry, did I say that?
Yeah.
Or Ben one. Yeah, I'm still convinced that even if he came on for some minutes, if Casemiro came on like for the second half, then I'm hoping we're about 2-3 up by then. Because he petrifies me. With Granit Xhaka and Locom guys, our DCMs or DMs, that is petrifying. That's why for me, I like that is going to have a strong influence in the game. But yeah, I'll wait to see how it plays out and what Ten Hag wants to do. We'll move on.
I want to ask quickly, what do you make of not bringing in a midfielder towards the end of the transfer window?
It's scandalous. We just needed a midfielder before we even got injuries. Right. That's why we were chasing Tillman. That was why we were chasing Paqueta. That's why we were chasing Douglas Luiz. They only started getting their arse in gear, right, because they had injuries. But beforehand, if we didn't have any injuries, they were like, well, we won our first 4 games, we don't need to do anything. Right? Because our board are that stupid. And our fan base is that stupid as well, because they lap it up. Right? There's a lot of fans that will just lap up everything this club says and go along with it. So if the club says we need a midfielder, they'll say that. If they say we don't need a midfielder and we're fine, they'll say that. Instead of actually forming their own opinion. But yeah, that is scandalous. Because we need a midfielder since 2006. This has been a saga since going on for 14 odd years, since we let go of Vieira. And we still ain't solved it. 16 years now. Right? And we still ain't solved it. That's a joke. That is a joke. So yeah, but God help us. So I want to move on to Arsenal's threats now. Manny, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to be the biggest threat to Man United from Arsenal's camp?
It's not going to be from our midfield. I can guarantee you that. It would be.
No.
I'd have to choose between Jesus and Martinelli, and for me, it will be Martinelli any day of the week and twice on a Sunday. I know that since Jesus has come in, he has obviously played a wonderful role, not just with the goals he's scored, but also with his link-up play and how he blends in with the team. He's an improvement on Alex Lacazette, or should we say lack of threat, who thankfully is not with us anymore. And he's done well, but with Martinelli, he's justified his decision to be starting ahead of Eddie Nketiah, although that wasn't really going to be difficult. But just the way he's played, his movement, his intelligence, his willingness to just give his all and never stop trying. He makes himself present in every single game. This is a guy who deserves a number 14 jersey, although the number 11 isn't that half bad. And it also brings me, I don't know if we're going to be discussing tactics later on, but instead of possibly going, yeah. So I was just thinking the best way to possibly take advantage of whatever attacking talent we might have, and maybe not put so much pressure on the midfield, or maybe it will. I don't know. Would be to possibly play a 4-3-3. Because I'd like to see Saka coming in on the right wing. If you got to play him on the right, at least let him play up front on the right wing instead of as a right forward instead of on the right wing. Because clearly, the poor bloke looks knackered from playing on the right wing, having to watch Ben White over his back. He looks tired. But if you stick him up as part of a 3-man attack, that could bring out the best in him. Jesus in the centre, Martinelli on the left, and Martinelli will be someone who will be key. his battle the battle he will have between him and Diogo Dalot will certainly be interesting, and I'm pretty sure that Matty will agree with me on that. So
Yeah.
hopefully with a 4-3-3, Martinelli will get his chance to shine, keep running hard. That should be good for me.
Right. We'll see how that plays. We'll see how that plays out. I'm just going to go through the comments before I'll come to you, Matthew. I'll just go through these comments because there's been loads that are coming in. So big up if I can't. I'm sorry if I can't get to all of them. So the reason I said that for you, so I'm midfield, right? So big with that already. Big up to Taib. I hope you're doing it well, mate. Xhaka straight in as pointed out by SR. Arsenal good for nothing. Stephen Edu was interested in licking toes, then making signings on transfer deadline day. I'll let other people say that, not me. I'm just disappointed he didn't do anything. The borderline idiots, they are incompetent and ignorantly arrogant approach to the squad, obvious to deficiencies against approach to the windows and transfer dealings. He's got a good point there. Big up Static. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Yeah, Matty, who's going to be the danger man for you for Arsenal before I go give them one?
Arsenal's danger man. I'd have to say it's going to be the two Brazilians, Martinelli and Jesus. Jesus has started the season on fire. He's out. It's over expected. My expectations have been over exceeded.
It's his moving off the ball for me.
Yeah,
that's what does it.
Now, I looked at him at City and I thought he's an all right player. It's not a great player, but he's gone to Arsenal. So being a main man, being actually through the middle, and that it's really
he's had that freedom.
His game. Yeah, and Martinelli down the left. We know Dalot isn't the best fullback defensively. So there will be space there for Martinelli to exploit, and he's a very good young player. He's definitely a player Arsenal have got to keep hold of. I know in the past you've kind of had players like him, developed them and then sold them off. Yeah.
Just don't. Yeah, you can thank us for the 2013 title for that. Jesus Christ. I can't believe. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I can't believe that when that happened, I was like, you've just sold to the guy you hate the most, right? So that means as soon as he picks up the phone, you should be pissed off. Like, you've just would Van Nistelrooy be sold to Arsenal? No. So you've just sold our best striker, knowing they need a striker to win the league because that's how they lost it, right? To arguably your biggest rivals. Right? And even though we weren't rivals with them because we were in our own situation, right? And we weren't good enough to be their rivals anymore. But still, you decided to let him go to send him abroad. Send him anywhere else. But no, you let him go to Alex Ferguson. That, for me, that's why I became Wenger out after that. So I was like, no, I can't do that. You don't do that.
Here's the thing with the Van Persie deal. He kind of forced Arsenal to move because I think he had a year left on his contract, didn't he? And it was.
But he can see there's no ambition.
Yeah. Do you lose him for free, but get that season out of him, or do you recoup some money, but lose him for that season? With where Arsenal was at that time, I think it was a right move for Van Persie and for Arsenal, to be fair, because you recoup money and the squad at that time needed investing.
It's who they sold him to. That's what they did.
Yeah. Fergie will never help me. We all saw the situation with Gabriel Hines and Liverpool when they bid for him, and
you're welcome.
Fergie refused it. He refused it. Point blank refused it. Even so, he pushed for that move.
Instead, he sold to Sylvester.
Yeah. talk about a downgrade. I remember.
No, just don't.
Sylvester is a good squad utility player, but here's the thing with Arsenal. I've noticed this throughout the years, especially since Wenger's gone, and possibly under Wenger out. It's before Wenger left. The hierarchy at the club and the infrastructure, it seems to be going backwards. And look, I'm out on our board. I don't trust any of them. I want Arnold gone, I want Merto gone, I want Fletcher. I don't like any of them. I don't trust any of them. No, so I get where you're coming from when you say you don't trust the board. What I don't get is Arsenal fans are now trusting the board and Edu and Arteta.
Well, the reason for me is that they've seen the club has progressed from where it was from, right? Because when we got knocked out in Europa League, we were dead, we were done, we were finished. Right? Like everyone said, that was us finished as a big club. We're done. And I knew that we're never going to get them out because the Arsenal never protest about anything. They make one protest and then what do? They invite for the semi-final. We go, good luck, guys. Just good luck. Like I have always still said, I don't care what they do. I just don't trust them. I don't trust they do. And when you've done even improved the club, when you've done this transfer window, you've gone and bought key players like Zinchenko, Jesus, who are mentality monsters, from that winning machine. You're like, well, just get a midfielder, and it's guaranteed. We should get it. It's more or less guaranteed we'll get top four. Get a top quality midfielder, and it's pretty much guaranteed, right? No one would probably argue, but they just don't take that extra step, and it's kind of like what happened before under Wenger. We didn't take the extra step to really go forward. 2016, we bought Czech, we bought no one else. If we bought a striker, we would have won the league, right? But yet we said we got Sonogo. Yet last season we said we got the Conga. It's the same thing. So
here's the thing with the Conga. He's a long-term prospect. I mean, he's a young lad. I think he's only 19, 20.
And we're expecting him to play fully league games.
Yeah. You can't expect that of a young lad. This season we simply Zuma go to Spurs for 25 million. You've got the deal lined up for Tielemans for around 25 million. That's 50 million pounds on a world-class 6 and number 8 with a good squad covers. I don't get why Arsenal haven't gone through with them deals. I really don't. And I think that's going to be detrimental to your season because that's a key area of the pitch. In fact, it's probably the key area. And you're outside of your starting 11, you're very weak in that area. As we discussed earlier, you've got Xhaka and El Neni coming in tomorrow. Xhaka and El Neni don't make
not even El Neni. We got the Congo.
No, even worse, if that's possible, because he's got no experience in there, and he's going to be coming up against a 5-time Champions League winner in Casemiro, who's going to run things around him, and then you've got Eriksen and Bruno who know ball.
Anyway, we went a little bit sidetrack there, but for me, the biggest threat for me would be now Odegaard's out. I'd love to see what Smith Rowe can do because every time Smith Rowe's come on the pitch, he's actually affected the game. Right, so I'd love to see what he can do in our system. Because the guy should be, for me, every time he's come on, he justifies why he starts. But because I've got a captain, and I knew when they made him captain, he's not going to get a look in. And that's one of our hate-end boys. Everyone goes on the back of the other guy, and everyone goes on the how great he is. You'll know you're not killing one of our own players. Right? Your manager's not killing one of our own. So I'd love to see what Smith Rowe can do. But again, like you said, Jesus, Martinelli are probably the two that are going to be because the way they read the game as well, the way they read each other's game as well, shows that there's an immediate bond between the two of them. And it's what I love about Martinelli is just like he just doesn't stop running. He just doesn't like. You could tell him we need to back off now. Just give like last 10 minutes. Like let's just hold the fort. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go score a goal. And he's still like running around like a headless chicken. To try and score a goal. So yeah, yeah. So for the only problem we've got is that we're going to struggle with the right hand side because if he plays Ben White, oh fuck Christ, oh Jesus! If you play Sancho with Ben White, trust me, Saliba's going to be too busy worrying about Rashford. He's going to all of a sudden the hand that like Ben White's been holding out for Saliba, like Saliba's going to go, well, I'm busy, mate. So like he's going to absolutely exposed.
It doesn't get any easier if you bring Anthony on.
Yeah, I know. If you bring Anthony on, I'm like, oh Jesus.
It doesn't get any easier for Ben White. I've got to ask about Ben White. Why has your manager spent £50 million on a centre back when you had Saliba all along?
I know. It's no sense.
You could have brought Saliba in last season.
People tell me he's a good defender. We bought him for 50 mil, and he increased our goal conceded tally by 5 by the end of the season. And they're telling me he's good. I saw a statement, right, which got me a hell of abuse when I replied back because I went absolutely mad at him. He said he's got a picture of Ben White, Bob Holding, Saliba, and Gabriel. He said, we've got the best centre-back depth in the Premier League and you can't tell me otherwise. That is what we're putting up with in our fan base.
Oh.
And I went, Man City, Liverpool, are you mad? Like you because we got what Ben White and Rob he called like he's got hashtag Rob Holding advocate. What's he done to be an advocate? Like what's he done? Like he's done nothing.
Rob Holding isn't good enough for Arsenal.
I said
that. I said that at the time you made the move. I'm sitting there thinking.
But if you said, but as soon as we say that, we get absolutely destroyed.
You're a team that had Sol Campbell, Tony Adams, Martin Keown.
Exactly what I said.
World-class centre backs. I hated Tony Adams, but I loved him. It was a house defender, but my God, he was a good defender.
If he had Ben White, Rob Holding in his centre of defence, they'd be pinned up against the wall at half time. Luckily, it's like Tony Adams doesn't feel their facing. Yeah. Because that's the standard. Right. But that shows that how much their standards are falling within fan base. Yeah. But, anyway, we're going to move on to our starting 11 for the game. And I'm going to start. I'll start with Matty since, as much as he's Man United, he's a guest. Right, so I have to be nice. So, yeah, Matty, I'm going to start. I'm going to start with you. Who are you going to pick for your starting 11?
My starting 11. I'll go De Gea in goal. Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, back 4. I'll go Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fernandes in midfield. And I'll go Anthony, Rashford, and Sancho as my front 3.
Okay. So, did you say Martinez in that back 4?
Yeah, Martinez is going into the back 4.
Yeah, and you feel that Casemiro just needs to come off the bench at some point?
Now, I would start Casemiro. I don't think he will start, but I would start him.
Okay.
Looking at the Arsenal midfield and knowing it's good because you're missing key players, I would put him out there, try and win the game very early on, get 2-3 goals, hopefully win the game in the first half, then just see it at the second half, bring him off for a bit.
Yeah, I see your point. Definitely. Manny, what are you going to go for?
4-3-3 for me as well, as I've said, and I've already given you my front 3. It has to be Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli. At least that way Saka doesn't have to do any work.
Yeah, I know you did it like halfway through the show. I did. We're doing that later.
Yeah. So obviously, if Ramsdale is fit, he will be in goal. Again, that's not guaranteed, but we will see what happens. Right back should be Takahiro Tomiyasu. I do not want to take any more chances with Benjamin there. He wanders to the left. He's clueless on the right. His name is Benjamin. His defending is?
Fine.
Bingo. So Tomiyasu at right back.
Don't defend him, it's Benjamin. Can't call him Ben, it's Benjamin. But he's still shit.
That's what I said. His name is Benjamin. And his defending is, you know what.
Yeah.
Centre backs would obviously be Gabriel and Saliba. I know Gabriel has looked a bit shaky in the last couple of games, but they will still start for me, and that means White should get to the bench. Left back's going to be tricky because I don't know if Zinchenko is still injured. If he is injured,
he's still in. He's not going to be fully fit, so I won't plan.
Then
it's borderline.
So that defense is sorted. Okay, and so with the 3-man midfield, I would like to see maybe. And that's the thing with the 3-man midfield. You just wonder how. I just wonder how they would possibly line out. Because they normally feel comfortable playing sort of somewhat in the center. I probably would have Granit Xhaka on the left wing, Emile Smith-Rowe in the center of the park, and maybe Lokonga on the right. So that would be my 4-3-3.
Okay. Right. Well, we had that.
No. Let me change that. Sorry about that. Sambi on the left, Xhaka in the middle, ESR on the right. That makes it better.
Right, okay. Well, for me, I would stick with what we've done so far. I don't think he'll change it, to be honest. I just don't see he will change it because, you stick to what's worked. And to be fair, I still feel we can do a job with that formation. So it'd be, for me, Ramsdale in goal. If he's fit, because he's a borderline fit. If he's not 100% fit, then Matt Turner. We've got no choice. Then we play. Who do we play on the right? We'll play Tomiyasu on the right. Saliba, Gabriel, Tierney. Back four then picks itself really, and then Xhaka and Lokonga in the midfield. Then it would, for me, I would then go Saka on. To be fair, actually, right? If the Congo, if say with the Congo, what I mentioned there, if Zinchenko is 100% fit, I'd start with Zinchenko next to Granit Xhaka. Right, it's 10 times better than the Congo, and Tierney's just as good on that in the left back role. So that's what I would do. And then I would pick. We got no choice to pick. We have to pick Saka because Smith-Rowe's got to go in the middle behind the striker. Thanks to the fact that Odegaard might not be fit. Then Smith-Rowe in the middle, Martinelli on the left, Jesus on the right, pretty much. And that would be my lineup going into it. At least then it addresses if Zinchenko's fit, at least it addresses part of the problem with the midfield because you've got a guy who can play DM quite well in there compared to the Congo. So, and I think that's the best we can do with the injuries we've got. But yeah. Going to our scores, final scores on the doors. I'll start with you, Matty. What are you gonna go with?
I think it'll be 2-0 Man U. I'd see Arsenal. I see Arsenal holding out so long, but I just think Man United have too much. I think Arsenal being weak in that midfield area and in the full back area. Now, I think we'll exploit that, and I think we can get a couple of goals, put the game to bed, take the 3 points.
Manny, what do you think?
2-2 draw. There will be goals in this game. I predict Jesus and or Martinelli will score, and both teams are going to give it a pretty good crack. I don't think Eric Ten Hag will start Casemiro, but he will definitely bring him on as a half-time substitute.
Yeah, I think if we play what I suggested and we don't put Ben White on the right, for me, I'd say 2-1 to Arsenal. I think also it could be but to be fair, also it could be a 2-2 draw, like it was last season. Apart from Man United winning that one, there was a lot of goals in it. There could be a fair amount of goals in this one as well. Individual mistakes and stuff like that. So 2-1, I'm gonna go with, but with the candidate that it could be more than that. But I'm gonna still back my team on this one and go 2-1 just because I can't stand Man United. So there you go. Like there's nothing better than winning at Old Trafford, right? Yeah, I mean, is there anything else anyone wants to say, like towards the game itself, about the season? I mean, what's your chances for you, Matty, for top 4 or where you finish this season?
I've always said this is Eric's first season. I'll judge him at the end of his second season. This season,
Yeah.
I think if we can get top 6 this season, that's a positive thing, because we're laying the foundations of a rebuild currently. No, we've still got a lot of deadwood in the squad, and that's got to be moved on. We're still trying to work with what we've got whilst moving players out and bringing in the players that Eric wants as well.
Replacing what you got as well, innit?
Yeah. No, we've got 6 players in, but we still need to improve areas. Our right back position, our goalkeeper, and our forward. Those have to be the next 3 priority areas that we look at next summer, or maybe in January. No, I think if we can get top 6, I'll be happy with that. No, I think that's a good result, and a good season.
Okay. I would say that would be bad if we got into the tops. If Man United got top 6, because don't forget as well that you're playing a lot with the squads that let you down last season as well. So you got to bear that in mind. We know what these players are like, so you just having to make the best of what he's got, and that's where I blame, like I said, with the board and the owners, by not backing Ten off from day one, and giving him the tools to make those changes. I think they could have got a lot more in if they helped him ship players out. So, but yeah, Manny, what are you going to go? What are you saying about Arsenal season before we wrap up?
Here's the
Where
thing.
do you think we should finish?
Yeah, we've started well so far, but as we all know, including you, the league doesn't end in August, it just starts in August. And today's results, a draw for Liverpool and a draw for City, will sort of prove, I mean, it doesn't prove anything. It just means that we haven't really played either of those teams yet. And obviously, they're going to be determined to make up for those slight setbacks in the coming games, especially when they play against us. Because believe it or not, for some reason, we tend to bring out that bulldog quality in them. They want to go for us, despite the fact that we haven't really had that much of recent success to crow about with regard in comparison to those teams. I've always said that my target should be Champions League or bust, whether it's the top 4 or winning the Europa League. I certainly wouldn't mind both, but I would say that by the 15 or 18 game mark, we will find out how good this Arsenal team really are. And we should definitely expect some better business in January, certainly than last January or this window.
Wouldn't expect that.
I still consider. I think they'll probably end up finishing maybe either fifth or sixth because I still think they'll falter. But you just never know what can happen. We have to hope.
Yeah, for me, I would say, like you said, Champions League or bust. Right? He needs to get into that market for next season. He spent 380 million on his manager now, and it's not even on players that are going to push us then forward to the next level and then try and get us towards even challenging for a league. So he needs to get top four at minimum, or win the Europa League, either one. So I don't want to hear any more excuses. He's had enough excuses, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, there's previous managers that have got top four in space in half the time, even over half the time, over half less than the time that he's taken, and he still hasn't even achieved it to get top four and get in the Champions League, and also spent over more than half of the month, spent less than half of the money. So for the amount of money he's spent and the amount of time he's had, we should be getting top four by now easily. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll either see after the first 10 games because, like I said, no one can be judged until you lose 10 games in. So we'll see how that plays out. But what we'll do is we'll end it there. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in as usual. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in, left comments. Manny, thanks for coming on. Matty, thanks for coming on as well. Really, really appreciate it. No worries. Before I go, Matty, where can they find you?
Yep, you can find me. I'm normally on the Man United Agenda Takeaway on a Friday night with Mr. B and Talk, having a laugh and a joke, talking all things Man United. And also find me on Twitter at Matthews36383801838, whereas I tweet tripe, but it's all just good fun for me. I don't take it seriously. I just do it for a bit of a laugh, bit of a joke, bit of fun.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have a bit of fun in this, otherwise what's the point? So, Manny, where can they find you?
Well, you can also find me on Twitter. The handle is Thangadurai 1981. You can catch me over there having a few arguments and discussions with a few other Arsenal fans and football fans. If you want a closer connection, it's Manny Thangadurai 1981. That's my full name and my year of birth. You can find me on YouTube on other channels like Del Boy Gunner TV, Oris Talks Football, a few appearances on Hanno's Coach Corner, the Football for Thought podcast with NS Sports, and also with my dear brother, Stephen Featley, on SFeatleyTV. I go where I feel welcome, I say what I want to say, I let the chips fall where they may, and that's it for today.
Wicked. As usual, you can hit the like, share, subscribe, find this over here with all the Arsenal and football content. With all the F1 content, find us on SFeatleyTV F1, where we'll have tomorrow the Grand Prix for the Dutch Grand Prix. Sorry, I couldn't do the preview today, so yeah, sorry about that. We've got also obviously the watch along for the Man United game tomorrow as well. So make sure you're tuning in tomorrow for the watch along because that's going to be an epic game no matter which way it goes. So and then obviously we've got the match reaction or at least the match or the weekend review for the F1 either one on Sunday night. So make sure you tune in then. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Bye bye.